decentralized or distributed version control system. While Git is decentralized, most people still choose to use a central server to serve as the main repository for a project or team. Because of the distributed nature, Git can scale massively. For example, the creator of Git, Linus Torvalds, wanted to create a version control system that could handle the requirements of the Linux kernel project, which he also created. Today, the Linux kernel project contains over 15 million lines of code, with over 1,200 worldwide developers contributing to the project in dozens of active branches. Another benefit of being distributed is that most operations in Git are local. There are only a few commands that require a network connection. Otherwise, you can work completely disconnected, even performing comparisons and commits completely off network. Since most operations are local, Git is very fast for those same operations. Git is free and open source, which also contributes to its popularity. Git has a very active community, and there are many resources available online. Also, it is very easy to find developers that are already experienced with Git. Because of all these factors, Git has become the most popular version control system. Git's de facto standard status means that Git enjoys wide adoption and integration into other tools used by the software development community, including text editors, bug tracking systems, and build servers. Within Git, the collection of version control files being managed and their history is considered the repository. While we typically think of the collection of files and folders being managed as a repository, actually, the encompassing folder on the file system is considered the working directory or workspace. The workspace can contain both files managed by Git and other files and folders being excluded from version control or not yet managed by Git. Normally, within the root folder of the workspace for your project, there will be a .git folder that contains the actual Git repository. The .git folder contains its own collection of files and folders that make up the internal structure of the repository. Since repositories contain all the history of all the files within the repository, I recommend that you keep your Git repositories as narrowly focused as possible. For example, an application might have a Git repository for the front end and another one for the back end. At the very least, each application should be in its own repository and not shared with other applications if possible. Git works by saving the current state of all its files it manages into snapshots called commits. A commit can contain one or many file changes. It's important to note that Git versions files, not folders. Occasionally, you might need to work with a technology that requires certain folders to exist regardless if there are any files there. If you need to, you can create empty dummy files to force Git to preserve the folder. As you make changes, commits are saved onto the timeline known as a branch. A Git repository will normally have at least one branch, and by default, that branch is called master. Additional branches can be created, but I will cover that later. For now, our initial work will be done upon the master branch. GitHub is a Git repository hosting service provided by GitHub.inc. Like Bitbucket, GitHub also provides an on-premises hosting solution called GitHub Enterprise. However, I'll be discussing the public GitHub available from github.com. GitHub has grown to be the most popular Git repository hosting service online. It has the strongest feature set of the online Git hosting services that I've reviewed recently, making it an easy choice for any developers using Git. GitHub's main claim to fame is the unlimited free repositories for public repositories. That means that as long as you don't mind others being able to look at your code, you can have as many repositories as you want. At the moment you want a private repository, you will have to upgrade to a paid service. Because of this, most of the open source community has adopted GitHub as their main repository. Even the source code for Git itself is hosted on GitHub. GitHub also boasts many additional features like issue tracking, web pages, and source code snippet sharing to support developer projects hosted on this service. All in all, GitHub provides a compelling service that developers can grow with. Let's get started now.